Hello, it's Rosa
and Jules.
Welcome to Let's Unpack It.
So we are back for another Friday session with Jules and Rosa.
Hello, everybody.
We are coming off the big premiere of our podcast yesterday. So now you all will know exactly what day we are recording this. How are you feeling about the premiere yesterday?
I mean, I have to say I was quite anxious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when we had a good final look at the recording before it went out the next day.
Oh my God.
And I was just thought, oh God, I hope people are not, taking the piss really, to be honest. I mean, it's a digital footprint after all, but I have to say in the end, I'm quite proud of us. I think it's a solid episode for the first time. Introducing is always a bit difficult.
Yeah.
And I think, what do you think?
I think the way we panicked the night before was so human that I kind of wanted to just share a little bit about this. So we were co-working the day before we released it. Mm-hmm. And we both had to leave at 6:30, 6:15-ish. And at 6:05, we were hovered over Rosa's computer watching the episode on 2x speed. Mind you, we recorded the first episode months ago, but we've just been thinking about how we want to bring this out into the world.
Absolutely.
And we were panicking. We were we're going to get canceled for saying this. We're going to get canceled for saying this. No one's going to think this is smart of us of saying. And it was this most honest expression of imposter syndrome and fear and anxiety that comes with bringing something into the world. And Rosa, when you were talking about how you're going to talk to people about it yesterday, you really captured that story. And so we ended up deciding today we want to really talk about founding stories because we were sitting so much in our discomfort and our imposter syndrome yesterday that it only felt right to bring that kind of honesty into what we needed to talk about today.
For sure. I mean, to be honest, just to give my 2 cents as well to this, I mean, Jules, you're right, as most of the time, I say exactly most of the time because I have to give you a little bit of wiggle room for the next couple of episodes. But I mean, to be honest, I do think it's especially for the two of us who are quite vocal about our opinions, obviously in discussions or we're on events. It's a different thing than really putting it out in the open. So I do think, it's a perfect human reaction. And I'm not sure, of course, it could be an imposter syndrome. It could also be the truth. We never know, or we will know because you will let us know what you think about it. So we have a truth. But that was definitely nerve-wracking, but good, I felt okay, we're actually starting it, we're there, we're doing it, we're speaking our truth in any way, so I'm happy we're here again. And I get the more we record, sorry, I'm still ill, the more I'm not anxious anymore. I feel quite relaxed today, if I'm honest. So.
Well, that's good. Well, I think we've gotten these down packed. We meet at Rosa's house. Maybe I'm gonna bring croissants every Friday because I brought some really great croissants today. We have some coffees. We chit chat about everything that's happened in the week for an hour, and then we finally do this. And I think it's it's hard to figure out how to be on camera and how to have conversations in public in this way. And so I think we're just navigating it. But I think what I've really learned from this experience that reminds me a lot about founding stories is the way community holds you while you're doing this, us coming together to do this. Rosa's partner, Laura, being so supportive every time we come here to this apartment to record. She is we take over the living room for 3 hours.
For 3 hours because we didn't nail the setup ever. It's always a struggle. I'm not going to lie. Every time. And then Jules is oh my God, I have to work afterwards. We need to get it done. And then everything is just,
chaos. It's chaos.
It doesn't look like it though. I mean, now we have
it's great. We have a setup.
Microphones and stuff like that.
And another great example of community holding you is we were gifted one of these mics by someone we know from a co-working space.
Shout out to Rita.
Shout out to Rita.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's what's so important is getting that support and feeling you're doing something that's right, you know, and that even though it's not going to be perfect, I think there's this thing from Girls Who Code that's brave, not perfect. We're being brave, we're not perfect, and in that imperfection, that's really real.
I mean, to be honest, perfect bridge to our topic of today, which is our founding story, which I think is the theme of, please tell me if I'm wrong, of our lives, to accept that sometimes things can't be perfect, we can't be perfect, this is just the life of an entrepreneur. Yes. Clearly. Yeah, I mean, you're almost perfect. I said wiggle room a couple of minutes ago. Excuse me. Yeah, so I think, a very vulnerable experience to found something. I don't know. I had, as I said, the last episode around, I wouldn't say the 3 companies, was like 2.5. Plus this one. So I have a couple of founding stories, to be honest, but I know you also founded. We talked about it also last time. Again, we experience and explore so many new things about each other, or old, I don't know. I didn't know you had also a founding story, another company that you had founded.
Yeah, no, I founded a nonprofit and ran it for 5 years, and that was like one of the hardest experiences ever. Learned a lot, but it was very, very stressful. And I'm also just someone who's like always testing out ideas. So I feel like I constantly like on like a every 2-month basis I was going through this of like taking an idea, concepting it, bringing it into the world, being like, oh, this doesn't actually work, and then pulling it back. And so I feel like I'm always in these cycles, and I'm really trying to figure out how I can break that. Because since I did my venture for 5 years, I feel like I've been very apprehensive to really commit to something again. And so I love that we do these recordings because it forces me to commit to doing this every week. And I know you'll hold me accountable. And that's that community piece again. Because I think it's really scary to go back after you've put all of yourself into something and found again. And I think it's amazing that you, without hesitation, it seems, have like founded like 4 times. Because I found something once and then I've like quasi-founded again, but with a lot of apprehension and it's so much self-doubt every time, and it really blocks me.
I see what you mean. I mean, it's interesting that you feel like I'm just doing it. My mom also says that. She's like, when Rosa wants something, she just goes for it, which seems like it, but I don't think that is completely the truth. I do that also because every other option is not working for me. If I imagine myself in a job where I have to do 9 to 5, where I have this kind of security that's also positive, I don't want to say it's a wrong decision for everybody. For me, it is. I need that freedom. I have a very strong vision, which I think something every founder should somehow have, this strong vision, and try to press it into every company that I've done.
Push it, to shove it in.
You know, so
oh my god, I'm rewatching The Sopranos right now, and they like do like suffocate a lot of people in that show, and I'm like, Rosa with her ideas, go, go, go.
So yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's been one media production company which I founded during my time at LSE, or like I co-founded it together with a friend. That somehow did not work out also because of the pandemic. You know, things were very much on site, so this was completely like, you know, turning over the business model. Then I had a fashion brand. I think I also said that in the last episode. Maybe we're repeating ourselves, maybe not. I did this for just like a sidekick to see how it goes, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't really my thing. Maybe it will come back. I mean, merch, I can imagine for the podcast at one point, not gonna lie, but it's just a different, you know, way of doing things. It's just not what I learned to do over the past couple of years. And now I have my, I would say, branding agencies slash consultancy.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, the thing that I'm gonna stick with, and then transform it into hopefully something that I'm happy with, depending, you know.
What does happy with mean to you, though? Like, that is such a vague term. Like, you know, like, what is good enough to you?
That's difficult to answer. I don't think anything is really good enough for me, honestly, ever. And I'm sure you can hold my hand with that because you're very, very similar. And I think that's also the beauty of it. I do think happiness is just like a moment, right? I mean, happiness is not something that is a phase, you know. Happiness is maybe I'd say, okay, I have this idea about my company, and if I achieve that, then I have to know what's going to come next. So it's more like, okay, milestone after milestone after milestone, and the idea in the company is adapting to this vision. That's how I would.
But then you're never content, though. How are you ever content?
I think and we talk about community again, I think perfectly ties into this, when I have people around me who love their job and they enjoy being in the space that I created.
I think I try and always say this thing that like our existence should be joyful.
Yeah.
It was something I thought a lot about when I left my career as a product manager almost 3 years ago now. And I realized that my existence was no longer joyful because I was achieving a lot, but I didn't really know what it was amounting to. So maybe like it's not a lack of contentment that you're talking about. To me, I'm like, oh my God, you're never going to be content with anything. And like life is joyful and amazing. But it's like if you're doing things that inherently like drive your vision for the world. And if you're someone who has a vision for what the world you want to exist in to be, and you're doing that, and you're surrounding yourself with people who believe in that type of energy, then your existence will be joyful. It will be stressful at times because being a founder is stressful. I have a lot of gray hairs from trying to figure out how to like found and build things. But it will make your existence more joyful because you're doing things that authentically represent who you are. And I think that's like, I agree with you. This community piece comes in because who you surround yourself as you build is everything.
Environment is everything, honestly. And the input, like that's also something I feel like, and this myth that comes with founding something like, you have to tell me, what was it again? I completely lost the thought. What was it we said right now?
Joyfulness.
And there was another thing. We can cut it later. It's fine. What was it you said right now?
Community, joyfulness, contentment.
Input. That's it. Input.
It's Friday.
Sorry, guys.
We've had a long week.
Honestly, it was a dreadful week.
It was a bad week. Can we just take a second before we deep dive into this topic? We had bad weeks. Like, I yesterday had a important call that I was super excited about. I was basically like bonked out on flu medicine and just spoke gibberish.
I think you weren't that bad. I also tried to tell that Jules yesterday that first of all, you can't be perfect all the time, and secondly, and I think that's what we realized with the podcast as well and rewatching it, I think we have a very like completely different idea of how we come across. When I look at the podcast episode, I think it's actually not that bad. So I'm sure it was the same with this call you had, you know. I'm sure you will find out soon.
Yeah, I'll find out. But anyways, it's just like we've had bad weeks. So this is a bright spot. So let's have fun with it. If we lose our train of thought mid,
then hey, it's authentic, guys. I mean, it's definitely going to stay engaging. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Now I remember, okay, the input part. I think also when it comes to ideas as a founder, to dive in deep, because should not forget it. I think it's also about what kind of input do you get in order to fuel that idea further, you know? And I think you can just do so much. Of course, as I said the last time we talked, you can only influence your own behavior and what you do. But in order to learn or like apply it, you need input from others. Otherwise, like, who are you going to share it with? Like, I think learning and growing is also a very collaborative experience. Otherwise, you're going to be isolated and just like hermit in your flat. Yeah. Right? What do you, like, I don't know if you feel the same way. I mean, for me, input, I didn't think it would be that big of a deal because it's just input or environment. It doesn't sound so important and potent. But the older I get, the more important it becomes for me, at least.
Yeah. I think this is why so many people say like being a solo founder is so hard. Like, I'm inherently against the idea that like you can't be a solo founder, because I just think if you're not with the right person, it's like a relationship. If you're not with the right person, you should just be alone. But like having really strong advisors, having strong community around you is really critical, because you're in this like echo chamber silo of your own ideas. And if you can't step out of that, you know, 1, you're going to burn out. 2, you're going to make bad decisions. Yeah. And 3, you're not going to grow at the same rate you could when you're not in that echo chamber.
Exactly. You're not accountable to anyone but yourself. Difficult, just saying. Exactly,
it's so difficult. And that's why, like, you know, when I'm going on my own founding journey again right now, at first I was like, oh, I need to find a co-founder. And I wanted, this is how I want this to look like. But because I've spent so much time this year with other people, co-working with friends, I think my idea has evolved. Like, my original thought around what I would found was a very set thing in a very specific sector. It was like, we're going to do something with gender equity in the workforce. And we are going to do this as a tech product that's going to be like B2B SaaS, which is very specific. And then I spent so much time this year with other people, getting feedback, going and pitching, actually, you know, telling people what I care about. And it was through all that community that I didn't decide I want to have a co-founder, but my idea completely changed. And it like became more of a reflection of who I am and the problems around me.
oh my God, totally same as most of the time. I felt the same thing, like with the branding agency guys. I'm telling you, I've been on this market now for 1.5 years-ish, and the more clients I got, and I got the feedback, especially because I also do the mentoring program, which I think is a fantastic opportunity for everyone, by the way, who's like founding a company, to work with the people on hopefully a paid basis and understand their needs. I had to I'm going to pivot my agency, like not completely, but definitely changing my business model, because it brought me in a completely different track, a different environment, that my personality is somewhat like I'm somebody who needs to have input, like from a workshop, not being there for a long period of time, but giving the right, let's say, accents, I don't know what to say, the right rhythm for the company, like within like a short...
Yeah, giving them the direction and the strategy, the ingredients.
The ingredients that missing, like I'm the salt to a very nice soup, basically.
The salt, did you say?
Yeah, the salt, it's missing.
There's better flavors you can put in a soup, honey.
What the hell? Salt is important for everything, especially...
But how about like an onion, a carrot?
Yeah, but I thought it's...
You can't have a mirepoix without it.
Yeah. Okay, but coming back to Jules Consulting, so you were deciding for real to like just stick with yourself for now? Are you thinking about
I have been very apprehensive to like, try and work with someone else, because my first company I founded, the Wit Project, I did it with one of my closest friends, and it was really hard because we are great best friends. We are great collaborators. Like when we work together, the ideas are amazing, but we weren't good co-founders. And there were so many reasons behind it. Like a few were, I don't think we had the like maturity yet to have some of the tough conversations around roles and responsibilities. I think we weren't good enough at unblurring the line between our business relationship and our friendship relationship. And I also just think we were young and naive, and so we just made a lot of mistakes, which like everyone does. And, for us, like coming out of that, I would never want to found with someone else who's like not a best friend, because I had that like intimate relationship. But also I'm like, I know how messy and complex it can be. And so I'm like, I don't really want to just do that with someone else again.
Yeah.
So, I'm open to working with people, and I love co-working with people. I love doing collaborations with people, but I want to be able to have some of that control of my own destiny until I really can see there is a gap in what I'm trying to do, and I need another person for it. So for me right now, I'm taking what was a consulting business for like workshops and facilitation, and I'm making a social impact consultancy called Shaken Studios. And if I see that there's a clear gap in how I do my business, I'm going to try and bring someone in to help me with it. So like things I know I'm inherently bad at, I'm like not the best at like marketing and branding. I'm going to ask for help with that. Or like, if there's like larger goals, like, we met someone last week at an event who fills a nice wedge or a niche of something else that we're interested in doing. I'm sorry, I'm speaking vaguely because it's not very formulated.
It's still incognito.
Yeah, but the three of us were like, oh my God, your marketing, your product, your finance business, like biz dev side, like there's something that we can maybe do here because it's a gap in all of our business models.
Absolutely.
So I think like when things like that happens, you have to be open to it. But as a founder, I think it's really important to know what you're getting into and to know what you want out of a co-founder relationship. And if you don't feel like it makes sense, like, I don't think it makes sense. I don't know, because you found it with a good friend too.
Same
and you know how hard it is.
Problem. Exactly that. The lines are blurry, you're just, it's just difficult when you move from friendship to business rather than from business to friendship. I think these are two like completely different pathways in a relationship, of course. But I had the same problems, I do think lots of the conflict that I had with my co-founders both times, I did the mistake twice. I wouldn't say mistake because we also had beautiful memories. I would never say it was not a good experience. I'm glad I did it because I've learned so much about myself, about how to do business and how to not do business for sure. But it's a blurry line, and also, at least for me, I always had in the back of the head like this fundamental worry that if I'm saying my truth or what I really want, and I know it's not in alignment with my counterpart, that I'm going to destroy the friendship. And this worry shouldn't be there when you're founding, when you're trying to get something off the ground. And to connect to your thought, I agree, same for me. I only going to bring someone else in when I feel like, okay, in order to bring my company to the next next level, I need a strategic partner or somebody who can fill a certain gap that I can't fill up with competence. What I also have to say is, what I learned is, please outsource as much as you can. For example, I'll give you a practical example because last time we talked about theory. When it comes to my website, for example, when I was younger, I was like, I'm gonna do this because I'm not gonna pay that much money to somebody doing my website. And I have to say, guys, please, doesn't have to be a lot, but get somebody who does that for you. It's so much time that goes into land for something where you can go out, make sales, do something. Like, I think they've done much more things that have more priority. As for me, as an example, I don't know if it's the same for you, but that's something I learned.
I think the mental model has to be, what are your most high velocity like levers, which sounds so jargony.
What is that high velocity levers?
Yeah, so as founders, or just as people, we have things that are within our realm of control. So what we like to say in like the product world is like, what levers you can pull. What are the things you can really activate or control? And as a founder, you have to really make your time really count, because we need to sleep, we need to eat, and we need to like not lose all of our friends, because that's really at risk when you're building a company. It's easy to work more than 50, 60 hour weeks when you're trying to build something. Like I was working last night until midnight. Why? I don't even know. It was just like, I felt like I had
to do.
I was just trying to get something done, I don't why am I up?
It's the mission of your life, getting something done.
I just need to get something done. It's unclear what, but it's probably reading TMZ. But like, what are the things that if you were to focus on this thing and you were to pull these two things down and activate it, how impactful would it be? That's what I mean by high velocity.
Okay, understood.
What are things that are going to unlock the most for you? And there's like a theory, I forget, it's something like it's your zones of genius, dimensions of genius. It's some theory. A few CEOs I know love this philosophy. I'm saying it wrong. We'll look it up after.
We'll put the link into the comment, in the section, guys.
Yeah, something zones of genius, where what are the things where the most happens for you? Like, what are you so good at that you should be spending like 80% of your time on? And then what is everything else that should just fall out? And that's what you really have to do as a founder.
Isn't that maybe we have to cut it out, the Pareto principle, the 80-20 thing? Isn't that
it might be a Pareto, it might be based on the Pareto principle.
So, could be. Well, guys, we will read around this, and we're supposed to link in the comments.
We'll find out something about theory. I don't know. But I think like it's a really important point is like, being a founder requires so much grit, so much just like, it's a roller coaster. Like people love, I think it's like glamorized because it's like, I get to go to a coffee shop in the middle of the day. Like my days are unstructured. Like it's a Friday. Jeez. We didn't have to like be, butts in seats at an office at 9 a.m. But also like, it's really stressful. It's like, where's my next check coming from? When is my next deal coming down? Like, will I be able to survive until next week?
Cash flow.
Like, how's my cash flow? How do I do accounting? How do I set up a corporate structure? Like, these things are so difficult and it's such a roller coaster. And so as a founder, you really need to be able to figure out, to your point, like, what are the things I really need to be doing? What are the things I can get other people to help me with? And then like, where else can I optimize things?
Absolutely. And I agree 100%. And again, to talk about Jules' point with having also resources that are outside of business, which is doing your sports if you need to, getting this balance in your life. It's easy to completely be overthrown, obviously, when you work 60 till 70 hours per week, but it's really important, guys. It's not worth like going all in for your idea and in the end you feel you're unhealthy, you don't have anyone around yourself, you isolate yourself. I know maybe you have the best idea in the world and you're gonna be the next huge tech company, could be, I don't want to say that's not the case, but I do think it's not worth it to bring all of your life that you built beforehand down. You need to create some kind of balance. Otherwise, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting because I was talking to a founder who's a mother, and she was saying, people say to me, to be a founder, you need to be able to give it your all. How do you do it when you have 3 kids? And she goes, moms are like superwomen. We're the most efficient people ever. And what being a mother has taught me is how to prioritize what are the things I actually need to get done to move my business forward. And I think a lot of us founders, we're so passionate about what we're doing. We believe so deeply in what we're trying to build that we lose sight of that. And I love that point because she's so right. Mm-hmm. If I actually think about it, there's like 10 to 15 things in a week that I really have to get done to keep my business moving forward. There are other things I need to do, but if I don't do them, my business is not going to crumble. Mm-hmm. My cash flow will not fall apart. And I think we as founders need to like adjust that mindset a little bit and think about founder resilience is not built on how many hours can you be at your computer like this. It's just not.
Good point. You know, I mean, obviously this is not for every founder, but I've overheard a lot of conversations where like people were saying, or other founders to each other, yeah, I mean, today I work 12 hours and you, oh no, I just worked 5 hours, but you know, in the end of the week, I know I'm going to work 10 hours as well. This is not what it's about. This is not like a numbers game in that sense. It's about being really clear about your idea, think it through. It needs to have quality, especially in the beginning, and not do everything at the same time at once, totally. And you know what, maybe different perspective, same outcome, and not from a mother perspective, but somebody, can't remember exactly who it was, said to me, you know, when people say they don't have time, it's a myth, right? Because when, for example, now your pipe would break in the house and your flat would be completely underwater, what would you do? You would try to get that water out of the flat. You would take the 6 hours of the day to do it. So when you think about it that way, it helps you to be like, okay, if you just have to prioritize the right way, if that makes sense. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah, there's this phrase we say in product that is, everything is an exercise in prioritization.
Wow.
And it really is like you're responding to your friends who text you. I mean, the ones you answer first, those are your priority. It's cutthroat. But,
for example, me. Oh, cringe.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, you really do have to pick and choose. And I think, like, there's something that I'm really happy the founder community is talking about more is, like, wellness and mental health, because you cannot build well if you are not mentally okay. Totally. You just cannot. And, of course, there'll be weeks where you have to work a lot. But as a general rule, and I think we both follow this same principle, on Saturdays, and I think you do it too, we don't open our laptops.
Yeah. One day, do nothing. Nothing business related.
I don't even look at a screen. Like, I don't even watch TV on Saturdays, which is a little, she's like,
I'll do that.
Yeah, like, and you game, so like, you're probably gaming on Saturdays. But I literally don't even watch TV on Saturdays. I do no screens.
What do you do then?
I go for my runs.
Yeah, right.
I meet up with friends. I have coffee. I read a book. I'm in a book club, so I gotta read the book.
Book club?
Yeah, I go to book club.
Cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Pretty sure she told me that. I forgot, because Jules tells me a lot of things, and they're all great, but I just have a memory of a sieve, so I don't know. Yeah, I forgot about it. You know the sieve you have for like cooking?
I've never heard that, but I love that. That's great. It's a great visual. No, I've never heard that phrase. I love it.
We learn something new every day. Fantastic.
Yeah, we do. So I read. I don't know. I walk around.
Mindfulness, basically.
I stare out into the abyss of life. I don't know.
Wow, we're getting in the abyss.
I go dancing. Yeah, like, I really try not to be on my computer, because honestly, Monday through, Friday, and then Sundays too sometimes, like, from like 8 a.m. until like 7 p.m. I'm on my computer constantly. One, it's not good for my computer. She's not going to last long.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Sometimes, we co-work, like, at least twice a week at this time, like now.
Yeah.
And I always know when Jules is very, very concentrated, because the laptop is too, and it starts to just this, like, I don't know how do you say that, the fans are going. They're going. Yeah. Like, our laptops are not, they're going to collapse. We need new laptops. Honestly.
Yeah. And then, like, too, like, our eyes are not meant to look at screens for that long.
True.
Also, the quality of your ideas go down. Like, I think a lot of CEOs will say this. As your job as a CEO is to make like one good decision like a week.
And they do that mostly out of their gut, not really always based on dashboards, right? That's what I've heard as well. Like, the most important decisions, I can also look that up again, but they do that out of what they experience and their gut feeling, which I think is not a bad habit to have.
Yeah.
Really, we should trust our guts way more. I think it's, as we say also when we look for co-founder, sometimes the resume looks fantastic, but if you don't feel it, you don't feel it. I mean,
Yeah. How do you, like, tune yourself into your gut? Like, how do you know to listen to your gut?
I practice it, because I don't know how it is for you and that touches base on episode 2 again. I think over so many years, I try to build a character and identity that is based on being calm at every time, being logical, trying to make the most reasonable, argument for something rather than just really go with my gut. And I can give you a perfect example. Again, boxing is coming back into the conversation. I was very unhappy doing Muay Thai for a long time, and that at that point I was like, Rosa, you need to trust your gut. You shouldn't just go through it and push through if you don't enjoy it anymore. Like, it just doesn't fit anymore. And then there was my coach, Roxana, who's amazing. And I always eyed, maybe I should work with her. And then I trusted my gut. And it was the best thing that I could have ever done. It was so easy, such an easy decision. When I was younger, I would have not trusted this decision, because it's like, why is it so easy? Why do I not have to overcome so many obstacles? So it is really like practicing and then seeing the fruits of my labor. Also, my part-time employee, Adrian, was also a decision out of my gut. And that was also one of the best decisions. Shout out to Adrian.
Adrian's amazing.
Who also cuts our podcast. So.
Yeah. And such a supporter. Like,
yes.
Adrian's so nice. Adrian's like, you two have great ideas. I'm like, thank you, Adrian. You're supportive. And I'm like, you have great ideas, Adrian. Like,
it's a teamwork.
Yeah. It's
offline
so
and
great.
online.
Yeah, but it's hard to tune into your gut. And I feel like I have so much self-doubt. Like, I'm constantly like in loops of self-doubt. And I'm just like I don't even know how to practice to not being in those loops of self-doubt. You know what I mean?
I do think, especially with you, it will be when you connect it with the success. I think it's just a matter of time, At least that's how I practice it. When I'm going into the self-doubt spiral, I'm like, okay, I mastered this, and this in my life. I went to a great uni where I could love what I do. Perfect. Not everyone can do that. I did... found 2 companies. Not everyone can do that. Like, it needs to be around these big milestones, and you have very similar ones too. That's how I would recommend, without women's planning, of course, but that's what I would do, because you don't have to be doubtful, honestly, Jules, also about your meetings and stuff like that. I get it, but you don't have to. Really not. I think,
I lose a lot of time just like in my own, like, my thought loops, and I think most people don't think I'm like very most people I think that I'm like a doer. But wow, I have so much self-doubt. Like,
she is a doer.
But I have so much self-doubt. And like every day I'm like, okay, but should I do this? Should I do this? Like, my roommates know this. Like, every night when I get home, I'm like, guys, being a girl boss is so hard. Like, I just want to lay on this couch and just like drink tea and like tell you guys how hard it is. I'm like, thank God I can just like, whoa.
You can, at least you have somebody to talk about. That helps me a lot. Like, again, we do a lot of shout outs today, but I don't care. I mean, my girlfriend Laura is also basically, for me, the balance that I sometimes need. I'm someone who has to talk about these things, these doubts, and then they kind of make no sense or more sense when I say them out loud, and I have the sounding board with somebody. You know what I mean? That helps as well.
Yeah. Well, I think like this is like this thread though that we started with, and that we're just pulling this whole conversation is like, it's community. Mm-hmm. Like, being a founder who can be resilient, who can be successful, is having community.
Yes.
And I feel like finding the right community that can support you through your founding journey is everything. Whether it's in your home life, whether it's in your founder life, whether it's with a co-founder, a coach, something. Without that, we are nothing. Which is like so interesting, because I think what I've been thinking about a lot is this idea of community. It's like, I've rebuilt my life here from coming from New York and like rebuilding it here in London. Like, why would I want to be in London if I don't feel supported or held by community? Mm-hmm. Or like, why would I ever leave London if I am feeling that way? And I think for founders, especially diverse founders or founders trying to tackle problems that are maybe more social impact related or are changing the status quo of our society, yes, you need blind belief in yourself and you need to be a little delulu, but you also really need other people who are going to stand with you in seeing the change you want to create.
Absolutely. It's like a movement you create, especially when it's in these social change or literally impactful topics, because they tackle something uncomfortable. They tackle a problem that goes beyond your product. It tackles a vision. And of course, then something like that, community becomes essential. 100% I agree. And again, like, it's just to have people around you who believe in the same thing. It doesn't even have to be in you. It has to be believe in the vision and what you stand for. And I think once you are nailed that, the why, which I explained theoretically the last time, then everything else, I wouldn't say magically falls into place, but will make sense in the long run. So yeah, I mean, here again, I know Jules wanted me to come up with also a practical example.
Okay, I didn't ask her to do anything. Okay, she just.
But I made some notes. So to come back to my whole journey with like, okay, I have to change my business model a little bit in the workshop. I also thought, is it really a branding agency I'm really like, completely passionate about? Yes, I am. But actually what I want to do is a think tank that's like, a combination of my branding agency and a consultancy that is focusing on insights and also way more around this why. And I can tell that, for example, when I look at my website. At the moment, my website says, just to be sure I'm saying it the right way, give me a second. We are building future-ready brands. That's basically the beginning of, my website, which is nice because it's the what. But, coming back, I closed it way too fast. I think what it should be about is we believe in the next generation of innovations. That's way better.
Yeah.
That's way more, okay, she's getting us. She delivered. She's like, this is exactly what, as a client, obviously, a potential client, this is what I need.
Yeah.
This is much more what I'm talking about. And the other thing is just, okay, you do what? Okay, clear. I mean, it's obvious that you are a branding agency if you do it right with pictures and blah, blah. But it's about what you stand for. So I just wanted to bring that in because you also need to have an example, a clear example. Everyone has a website. How can you integrate the why? That's how you do it. Think about what you stand for, what you believe in.
Yeah, or like, why you're doing the business. I love how as you were doing that, I was like peering over to read the notebook. I was like, can I look?
Yeah, of course, please. I don't know if you can read my writing, but...
I just saw my name. I saw my name and I tried to read
Jules.
I tried to read it. But no, I think this is the whole point of like why people are founders is like you have something that you really stand for that you literally cannot hold within you. I think like, again, coming back to this concept of like glamorizing being a founder, it's that people think, oh, I get to do this thing, I get to have an exit, blah, blah, blah. But like, it's really would be so much easier to just have a 9-to-5 job if I'm being completely honest. But for me, it literally doesn't feel like an option. And I feel like it's kind of like the same for you. It doesn't feel like an option. Like once I got a taste of founding and then also working out as a startup as like a very early employee, I was like, I want this. I want to be able, I need to be able to control my own destiny in this way. And I also need to be able to have my ideas directly like executed and created through like strategy, and it has to be my own strategy and I have to be the beneficiary of it. But do you think there would ever come a day where you would give up founding?
In a different way. So another dream that I have is, so my parents, my dad comes from a farmer family. So for me, it's quite normal also when I was a young age to do everything ourselves in the house. So my dad built our house. He also built most of the stuff in when we moved. Like he really does everything, which I think is so cool. Like, to be able to, just without any help, creating a house, whatever that is.
Amazing.
And I would love to acquire this knowledge a bit more and then kind of like, potentially buy a house, renovate this and then resell it. Because the only thing that really is missing in my life is this more taking things into my hands and doing things. I love it. I do love this feeling. So that would be the thing I can imagine in a couple of years doing, together with Flora and I were talking about it already.
Oh, wait, so you'd still be a founder though? So you wouldn't give up? To answer the question, you would not give up being a founder?
Well, I don't know if it's really like the founding per se, like
no, but persona. It is. You would still be running your own business, like flipping houses.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a business.
Yeah,
it's not there's no founder persona. I think this is the issue. Is like people think there is. Like, if you own your own business and you are driving your own revenue, you are a founder.
Okay. What about you? Can you imagine?
Yeah, totally.
Really?
I could totally see it. I mean, stability is great. Like, it is. Stability is so good. Like, for the last 3 years, I've had so much fun. I've discovered so much about myself. But if I can't find the right problem I want to solve and I can't find a wedge, like, I would be completely open to being in a team. And for me, I think something I've realized about myself, which I've had a hard time accepting because I really want to be a founder, is for me, it's about the people. And I have, when I'm with someone who has an amazing idea and I feel like I can support them in that,
fair play.
That gives me everything I want.
Yes, true.
So I wouldn't go back to working for a company that I don't like the people, that I don't respect. Like, I'm really lucky. Like, I work with a startup right now and I love the people. I love the founders. I love the people I work with. They're like great human beings and they're like genuinely good people, which is like everything to me. And like, the more I do support work with founders, I'm seeing this in myself that like, yes, I love being a founder. I love controlling my time and who I get to work with. But I also am like, I would love to like come on as an early employee again. Because I worked at a startup as like employee 8-ish, 9-ish. And I was the first product hire at that company. And I would do that again. But with all the lessons I've learned about, finding the right problem, finding the right founders. Like, I was just so naive. Like, I was like 25. Like, I was thinking about this actually in the shower yesterday. Never not thinking. At 25, I worked at the startup. I really wanted to be like the head of product. I don't know why. It also was like there was not enough people to be head of anything. Yeah. But I had the founders were older than I am now. Like, this was more than 5 years ago at this point. And I was just so naive. I just knew so little. And I just look back at that experience and I'm like, I don't have a bad taste in my mouth about being an early employee. I don't have a bad taste in my mouth about being a product person. I just didn't know anything. And like, I learned so much and I'm so grateful I did it. And I'm so grateful I met those people because they challenged me a lot. But I'm like, I know things now. And it doesn't have to be the same.
Yeah. I see. Okay, fair enough. This is a good point. I could agree with that as well. If the vision from somebody is great, the team is great, and I have now the self-confidence to know exactly what's going to come, because I'm sure you can relate. I mean, you think you also worked in a corporate life, right, as well? But at least for me, I only worked in startups, so I know the whole life cycle in and out. But now this whole, let's say, bucket of being in a startup is now also filled with experience that I can bring. So I think I would enjoy that as well. It would not just be my first choice. If I could also like renovate houses, I renovate houses.
I mean, we're just manifesting that you're gonna be renovating houses. Yes. If you're buying a house, maybe contact Rosa.
Please contact me. I love stuff like that.
First project. Oh my God. But yeah. God. Anyway, so I think I think to TLDR of this episode is just like trust yourself, be honest with yourself, don't push yourself into being a founder, and like really community, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Honestly, it's the simple things in life, really. It really is. Wherever it is, it's actually more simple than we think in order to have quality. And I think that's what it should be about for you. Not only founding a company that's great and super good and has a great product and solves a problem, but also think about the quality aspect, because there's a lot of trash out there,
Yeah.
So keep your mind ahead, be mindful, keep the balance, and then things will just work out just fine, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, they'll be fine. The sun will rise. Well, we're in England. There will be no sun rising, but the gray clouds will rise tomorrow. And on that, thanks everyone.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you next time. Bye.